Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's. Where are we here? Daily brief. Is this cool? There's so many people in the lounge. It reminds me of a class. Oh. Anyway, welcome back to the show, everybody. I hope you enjoy these hour-long rants. First thing in the morning for the Pacific Coast. I suppose it's your lunch hour back east. Really impressed with this. I gotta tell you. This is the quality of the site. Like guys like Jeremy just are so laissez-faire, but damn, he picked that amp perfect yesterday. So impressed. Now you guys are awesome. And hopefully all of you guys are taking advantage of that. That's a good looking little trade. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. And I even tweeted it out and stuff. All right, let's go take a look at the book and see what we got. Uh, on balance, and actually somebody was asking me, what is this? What is this? And looking at all these percentages, what the heck are all these percentages? And in essence, the percentages that you see here are just nothing more. The S&P itself is our indicator score. Just keep in mind it has a minimum rating of 0 and a maximum rating of 100. And it's a really, for the level oneers, they're going through the introduction to momentum trading using price analysis tools. And we just went through Mondays, I guess we just went through the Willie and using oscillators. And you could argue that our indicator is nothing more than an oscillator. It's an indicator of like 15 different indicators all put together, and then multiple time frames all smushed together. So the indicator itself is sort of, and this is why we call it CUM, cumulative. It is the sort of ultimate expression of a momentum indicator. It includes volume, momentum, and price momentum, all smushed together into one. That's why I absolutely love this indicator. And I actually built it on my 1980s website, but Stuart has just literally taken this to the next level. Just, it is so awesome. And this image here that you're seeing, it is nothing more than the entire universe that we follow. Because keep in mind, we're following 521 different issues across commodities, currencies, sectors, bonds, even crypto now. Ooh, sexy. And it's just sort of the cumulative. What's the tide? Is the tide going in? Is the tide going out? Kind of thing. So it's an awesome little tool, and I always talk about having how many reasons for a trade. I got to start you right off the bat. And if you don't know this, then you better get working. Where's that damn journal? Oh, Jesus, he's gonna make me work right out of the gate. So, I think it's a good idea to use tools to try and figure out where price is, and if price is actually setting itself up in a half decent location. And this tool is, in essence, our reason number 2, where we want to see some sort of internal signs of divergence, momentum confirmation, that kind of stuff. Reason number 3 would be structure itself. Am I going to take a candle pattern? Am I going to, hunt M's or W's? Am I going to trade a head and shoulders? Does that make sense, that process? Trying to balance your approach and have 3 unrelated reasons to consider taking a trade where they're very different, right? Yeah. In fact, actually, it was so cool. I mean, I was so impressed. We have one, and I don't know whether he's here this morning, but usually he's here with bells on. But one gentleman, and in fact, I think I have the chart up here. One gentleman, I put this chart together overnight about Bitcoin, and I think all of us, if you had spent any time in the lounge over the past 24, 48 hours, we were all just like, holy crap, here comes a trade, here comes a turn, here comes a turn. I was really lucky in that I had a stink bid working down here at 18 and change. So I bought off of this tail here. And I suppose that's this crazy hedge program that we're running, right? I got lucky, and I got filled off of this level here. But even for the slow, I want to see everything set up. this is just absolutely beautiful. This is exactly what I try to teach in the course. And yeah, well, you know, the reason why I got lucky is because I had a plan, and one of the plan components was to throw a bid in at the 50% level. So yeah, Jeremy's pointing out that, you know, lucky, good, good, lucky, you know. Anyway, back to the story. I actually think that this is, you know, I mean, guys, if you're not in the school program, for heaven's sakes, take a screenshot of this. Here, I'll even put it right on the darn site right now, because this is it. This is everything that I could possibly try and impart on you guys. And, you know, I was running the numbers yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before. And I tweeted this out. Does anybody see the tweet? I thought it was so funny. I don't want to get too far off topic, but we put Sebastian's little logo, the El Tengonator. So I think I really want to give this trade ideas to Sebastian, because this is our basic Hollywood Nick concept, where you know, in this particular case, like we said, you know, there's a higher time frame 50% level, which is kind of interesting in itself. But nonetheless, double bottom, beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful MACD, and it really, you could even argue a double divergence I put on the other chart. I mean, this is just so beautiful. Willie, nice and stupid, right? In essence, what's the public doing down here? Who can answer that question? And you know, you Monday guys, we just went through the class. What is my phone doing when this is right here? Yeah, it's a combination of you know, and for the level oneers, we just did it. The irony of it all is when I was a broker, and you could literally set your watch to it, and this is why I built this indicator. You could literally set your watch to when this thing goes stupid. Now this is a lower time frame, so not so much, but especially off of things like the daily charts and incredibly the weekly charts. When Willie goes stupid, of course, that's when the phone's ringing, and as a broker, all I hear is, "Oh my God, get me out, sell!" Right? They're just acting stupid. It may not be that Bitcoin is a rah bull, right? We do know that there are structural problems up top, but the long and short of it here is when you see this, you should be like, okay, I get a pretty good idea what the public's doing, and it might take some time for it to clean itself up. You can see how long this divergence took to develop. But do you guys see how if you just had the patience and the discipline, this was literally a gift. Do you see? I mean, it is everything that I teach in the course. We're gonna let the market just crank down. Remember what on the higher time frame charts we talked about these A, B equals C Ds, right? This was technically a PRZ or potential reversal zone. There's the 50% level off of this particular range, right? And remember it went on and on about the darn 38.2 off of the weekly charts. I mean, this is a pretty important level. You guys see now how important this 38.2 needed to be resolved? You guys, does that make sense to you guys now? I mean, especially new people to the site. Jeremy, obviously, you know. But some of the newer site members that have only been here a month or two, you know, really, man, I can't stress how important this 38.2 level was. And now you guys all watch this. I like week after week, Brian's like, it's 38.2, 38.2. Bang, bang. See you later. Okay, Brian, fine, you're done. Would you shut the hell up? Kills me. I thought it was interesting too. Somebody, and we were kind of talking about this in the lounge. This is another thing I should probably have on the site, but it was another tweet that I put out. And actually, I posted it in the lounge this morning, so just scroll up in the lounge and you can find it. But this is actually a very interesting chart pattern. It's a fractal. It's a reversal. It's a violent reversal. And it's actually, you know, we give it a funny name. This is an upside down one, but if you see it, and actually there was a Litecoin chart, I think I posted it earlier today, but I may have put it away. Yeah, I think I had it over here. Let's see if I can just quickly find it. Oh, and I'm going off on a funny direction here today, guys, but I'm just having fun. I hope you guys are not too Where was it? Maybe it's like on a 4-hour. Might have been, yeah, there it is. So I posted this in the lounge. This is the right side up. What kind of building does that look like? Does it any, especially all you Americans, right? Does this look like any sort of big American icon? And that, you know, if you've never seen this before, you know, not a bad idea to grab that screenshot. Right? That's what we call an empire. It's actually extremely difficult to trade because it means you have to go short here and you got to risk all the way up to here. And most new people to trading just can't handle that. But do you see how this candle opened? It went right down there and said, no, I'm not ready. It went all the way up there, and then it lost it here. And actually, the only heat that you took was up to here. You know, never went anywhere near up there. A lot of professional crude oil traders that I used to work with, they would hunt this off of, like, say, a 15-minute, 30-minute chart. This was their bread and butter. Because this is an extremely powerful reversal signal. So I think I copied that. I think it's not a bad idea. You know, if you don't know this, if you've never seen it before, what did I learn today? What does an empire look like? So there is that Litecoin empire. And could you maybe just throw yourself on mute, please, everybody? I'd appreciate it. And, of course, the daily off of Bitcoin. Right? Where was that chart? There it is there. And probably you'll see it right across the board. Now, the interesting thing is, you know, like I said, for most new traders, this is going to be a damn difficult trade to take, right? Because it means you got to buy here and you got to risk all the way down here. And, you know, I still got some more stick bids working down below. There's no reason why we couldn't break this. It's a hell of a lot of risk. But if anything, this is a really good anecdote of the market is trying to talk to us. Are we listening? This is a pretty damn powerful reversal signal. And I thought it was interesting too. Does anybody have that? Where are we? Where do I want to go? Anybody have that Goldman Sachs? I think I threw it in the library. The Goldman Sachs sort of prognostication. Did I put it in here? Yeah, here it is. GSI. So I threw the Elliott wave. It's under images and more videos. The Elliott wave cycle. And that's sort of what it looks like, right? In all its grandeur. If you want a reference point, it's a good little tool to have handy. But I also, just for kicks, threw in this Goldman Sachs write-up. So it's also in there too. There's that 38.2 that we talked about. Doink. But notice too, look at what her sort of prognostication is. Right? She's actually looking for some pretty wild volatile action in here and a W to come in. So, you know, a lot of, and, you know, if we think bot, right, we want to have 3 lows to work with, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, we can start hunting entries, blah, 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 for that trend continuation trade. And if anything, I think, you know, what we have to sort of expect, and of course, this is crypto, right? You guys remember this chart I've been posting recently, and Tim and I banter back and forth on the Twitter. I said, wow, gee whiz, the similarities are shocking. And he's like, well, you know, history doesn't repeat itself, but it likes to rhyme. A lot of similarities to this seasonal turn. Isn't that incredible, guys? And, you know, some of you have been on the site, and I've seen you in this daily brief for like a week or two. Isn't it incredible how we just literally watched this all play out? Any new people? Because we've had this chart on the daily briefs for a while. Oh, nobody wants to say anything? Okay. Well. I'm still thinking it's got to go something along those lines, but it is, and there's that big empire we talked about. It's upside down empire. You know, the issue here is now, of course, you know, everybody sees sort of the fundamental news today. And you guys are probably, yeah, it sure should be. Bobo, right? If you're new to all of this game, the market is really schooling the public here, right? I mean, bought a shitload of Bitcoin. That's that dude up there. And then, of course, over the weekend, I literally heard people just saying, "Oh, end of the world, end of the world." Right? And then, I wake up this morning and I read in the news, and keep in mind, I'm not a crypto expert. I'm not very good at the fundamental side of this. I'll tell you that right now. I'm never going to build myself as a crypto expert. And if I ever did, oh my God, the Twitter people would shit on my head. And I have to swear there, sorry. I'll never, ever go down that road. But the point is that I was absolutely shocked this morning when I read that. Oh, it turns out the miners are doing BIP 91 or something like that. And correct me wrong. You guys are the smart guys here. If you want to put in the text box the correct links, I'll be more than happy to pass them on to the group. But and the word is that they're going to avoid splitting of Bitcoin altogether, and it's just like, what? And then I saw that they said that it has to have like I don't know, like I think it's like, oh, I don't know, I can't remember the exact numbers, but a fairly high percentage. And they're even beyond that number, or they're like fast approaching that number already, or something crazy like that. So it's almost like it just instantly, for some reason, the whole issue just evaporated. I couldn't believe it. Now, this is crypto, right? Back and forth. Yeah, no manipulation at all, eh, Jeremy? Oh, God. If anything, guys, you just got absolutely schooled on how the media gets played. Do you guys see how the kids were played here? Seriously, people. Does anybody appreciate how the public just got played? Now, it's interesting. In a weird sort of way, yeah, well, I sure hope you have, Sean, because this is the kind of education that saves your ass, right? We no longer buy these up nutso markets. We're not allowed to. You're not allowed to be a buy a load of Bitcoin. And then conversely, when we actually come down into buying zones, you actually have to have the balls to step up and actually buy. Oh, this is and as Bobo said, man, if nothing less, please, this was really educational. Now, does that mean we go to the moon from here? I don't think the soap opera's done. There, Scott's giving everybody a link there, so I'll even grab that. Scott, you reckon that's good stuff? Scott, I tell you, man, Scott, this guy Scott here, befriend him. He is like one of these super smart guys. I mean, I think he's a genius. And he built this really cool laminated flow chart of his trading and stuff. Oh, if he'll ever share that with us, oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, back to the story. We just, sadly, and it sucks, but sadly, I think the public just got played. I think a lot of kids dumped, Bitcoin in panic. I don't think that was a smart thing to do. Well, and you know what? They're probably not just kids; they're probably adults too. It's had its bounce, but is this really a place where we want to go shopping for Bitcoins? I don't know, guys. Try and temper your enthusiasm. Don't get sucked into the mill. And as Miss GS kind of intonates here, I think what has to happen is, we've actually established a range now. We're probably going to probe these lows. Don't be shocked if we dip down below this level and just see if we can freak people out. Keep in mind on the Tether, I still do have some bids working down below. But what I'm thinking is now we got to do a little bit of back and forth, right? And I actually found it interesting. Somebody on the site, and it just goes to show that you guys are both listening and learning. Somebody about an hour or so ago posted this, US dollar Tether Polo 60-minute chart, and said, "Hey Brian, do we have a volume divergence going on here? Is there something not right about this bull?" And can everybody see these bars here? Do you see how The bulls did 4.3 million here. Then on the next sort of surge up, right, they did 2.36 million. And then on this surge up here, 2.17 million. Everybody see that? And I was really impressed. I can't remember who the person's name was, but I was impressed. Very sharp. So you know, just seeing this divergence should speak to us. I don't really see the bears also ramping up. It looks like the bears are kind of sleepy too. I think probably the bears are a little bit shell-shocked right at the moment. And you know, actually, this will be a really interesting tell, right? Because the bears clearly got control of this candle. Let's see if the volume actually does come in, and if we start seeing higher highs, you know, in this bear bar right here, we'll know that the bears are waking up. But you know, most importantly, I think for the bulls case, is we actually have to see the bulls print a candle less than this for us to officially declare that the bull that started this charge has actually gone to sleep. So really, really interesting. And what I suggest to people is, you know, just simply, let's see if I can do this. I don't want to screw this up. I'm just going to put in simply let the indicator itself validate what you're seeing. So let's go scale left, and we'll do this on scale left, and make that blue so you can see it. So when we look at the indicator itself, right, I think it validates what we see here. Bulls nice and, wow, look at me, right? And the trend is very strong to the upside. And of course, you know, we don't really have any structure here to say that the bull is toast. And really, I think the market's waiting for the bull to fall asleep. So I thought that was an excellent observation. And if anything, this is where the rubber meets the road in trading, right? Because really a big part of my job should be to try and connect the real world that all of you guys live in, because you live in the real world. Brian's a nut. He lives in this funny ethereal chart world. But try and connect the real world with what we're seeing in price action. Because it actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it from a very simple perspective. Does it make sense that at a certain point here, the bulls were very interested in being buyers? Does that make sense, right? I mean, let's go look at that price. Well, you know, $1,900 bucks. You with me? Anybody with me? All right. So the market paid attention. The market just said, "Oh, wow, there's some buyers here." Okay, well, if there's buyers here, you know, the people that are want to sell, they're kind of like, well, if they're willing to pay this price, maybe they're willing to pay a little bit more. So maybe I'm going to back away and I won't sell as aggressively. And sure enough, right, something was going on here. Structure, you know, technical, oversold, blah, 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 whatever. But in essence, the buyers are like, yeah, we like this level, right? This is Mrs. Goldman Sachs level. Right? She told us to buy, so we're buying robots. Right? So that sort of trend continued. And then price worked its way up. And as they were taking price higher, right, we noticed, well, you know, the buyers are like, well, I really like this 1900 level. Now you want me to pay this level? All right, fine, right? But they're not nearly as enthusiastic as they were. So maybe even at this point, the buyers are like, you know, and this is what we call buyer's fatigue. Have you guys ever heard that expression before? Buyer's fatigue. So the point here is that, you know, yeah, the price was trying to work its way higher here, but we're not seeing anything like that. Now, they took price higher, and, you know, is it a combination of stop runs? Is it a combination of, you know, margin calls, whatever? You can see the buyers were like, oh, okay, you know, we're still interested, but you can see they're not nearly as enthusiastic. And then they take the price higher, right? And they're pushing the price up, right? The sellers are saying, okay, let's see what these guys are willing to pay. But we're getting up now to like $2,200. And the buyers that were all like, well, you know, $1,900, rock on, man. They're like actually not really around anymore, are they? And we can actually visually see the buyers losing interest, not really wanting to pay these higher prices in the actual volume pattern. Does that make sense? And this is why this concept divergence, and why this gentleman, I was so impressed that he saw that, why this is so important. Because in essence, this volume divergence here is that buyers fatigue. That buyers were interested in these prices, and then they mark the market back up, and the buyers go, no, 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 no. I don't want to pay this price. I remember I was interested in this price. Does that make sense, guys? It is such a powerful lesson. Such a powerful lesson. Now, what's going to validate this, right? Now, if we see the bears start to wake up and we see higher highs and higher lows out of the bears, right, that's going to start putting structure in this top. And then, of course, if we see the bulls actually fall asleep and literally revolt, where you get an up bar in price, but the buyers just don't show up, then we'll know that something's up with this trend. But if anything, this is a fantastic application of the OBV concept, in that we see the impetus battle, and you can see that battle basically playing itself out in the OBV indicator. It's just beautiful. I also noticed too, right, and I sort of told people, and I don't know whether I mentioned this already, this is actually, you know, like you could argue this is a Hollywood Nick setup. What's really interesting is that the divergence itself actually confirmed on this up bar right there, which is really interesting when you see that, because that meant that the confirmation of the W was just a continuation of that confirmation. It's a beautiful signal. I mean, guys, seriously, like I was posting in the lounge and I was saying, you know, this is everything that I teach. This is the course in a nutshell. And does it make sense? Here is the 50% rule of this range, and this is just, you got to, you know, ring that register. If you can be patient and disciplined and hunt for this image, and I mean, I posted it earlier today, I've tweeted it out. I mean, this is everything that I want to teach you guys. This is it in a nutshell. Absolutely perfect example of what you're going to do. Is you're just going to simply go in, you're going to risk $1 of your money, and you're going to get paid $2.28. And you just keep doing this day in, day out. And even if you're right only 50% of the time, which frankly speaking, when I see all of this come in like this is a good 70-75%. Sebastian was running the numbers last term. He did it diligently. I was so impressed with the hard work that he put in. Beautiful spreadsheet. And it was running at about 75%. I mean, you guys tell me, if 75% of the time you get paid $2.28 for $1 worth of risk, what do you think? Can you make money with that kind of performance? This is everything that I teach. Everything. And this is nothing to do with, oh, is Bitcoin going to go off the board? Is it going to go to new highs? You can make all the money you ever need just simply trading within all of these markets. I really, really hope everyone really, you know, hopefully this is kind of like a aha moment. Yeah, well, the bimbo, we don't even, the bimbos look at us and just go, what the hell are they doing? Right? And I even noticed on Twitter and stuff, and on, you know, the major media outlets, the public is actually getting a bit angry here. They're seeing this and they're like, that's not fair. You got us, you told us that Bitcoin was no more. And we panicked and we sold. Yeah, seriously, man. I mean, I tweeted it out. Yeah, look at the tweet I put. I love this tweet. I got to find this tweet. It's so beautiful. And I hope you guys are enjoying today's presentation. I have a lot of fun just talking to you guys. You're actually very therapeutic for me in a weird sort of way. Let's see if I can find it. Where is it? Tweets and replies. Here it is. This one goes out to you, Sebastian. Absolutely love this. Oh, I don't know. Copy image address. Let's see what happens. There we go. You guys see that? So it's on Twitter, but I'll give you the link here. I'll just put it in the lounge. I mean, that's basically, yeah, that's Sebastian's setup. El Tangonator. Isn't that cool? It's so perfect. I mean, it is everything that I teach. Yeah, and that's an interesting comment too. I don't think the public is prepared for the volatility in this space. And they don't realize, yeah, it took back $500, right? And really all they did was they just bitch slapped the market. The market just bitch slapped the public. That's what happened here, right? This is just somebody's got to have some sort of, and you're allowed to say bitch. That isn't a swear word, is it? But I think really the market just played with the public there. It's so sad. But anyway, I bought down here, so I'm feeling okay. Okay, so the point here is now, are we actually in a bull? Is this a new bull? And I think, if anything, the sad part about it is the public's going to go, okay, fine, all right, I'll just go and buy them back, damn it. Right? But we actually look at this and we go, uh-oh. Does everybody see how the market just has very politely worked its way right back into a reload short zone? I mean, really, that's the irony of all of this, is that this bounce was a beautiful trade. Don't get me wrong, beautiful trade. But the irony of it all is that the public's paying attention now. But who's this son of a gun? Right? I mean, can you see him at work? Boom. Everybody see that? Hey, Casey, you got the name right. Cool. That is what we call our mountain man level, for anybody who's not familiar with him. What does MM do? Well, he has a bad habit of stopping bulls, is what he does. He gets paid, that's right, as SOP. Well, not necessarily. He's just a trader. He's, for the record, people are like, who is this mountain man that you always talk about? When I was a prop trader a few years ago, and now we have to say, geez, a few years ago now. But when I was a prop trader a few years ago, I used to trade with a gentleman who used to be actually in the pits in New York City, right? Actually, in the New York Mercantile Exchange in the crude pits. And one of the best screen traders I ever met. And he had an innate ability to not only understand fibs, but also really understand price action in the marketplace, which was, probably his real gift. Just to understand, in the level 3 program, we go through a session of trading the DOM, and we illustrate how price behavior actually changes as we approach these 61.8 levels. It's shocking when you actually see the way that the algorithms and the high frequency traders all come alive right around that level. And it's almost like it's a tell, but you have to get to the point to be able to understand the DOM and the price behavior of the DOM. And I think that that's a little bit advanced for beginners. So I really don't recommend beginners go down that road. But the long and short of it is that we have to understand as traders that this is a really important mathematical level. And it becomes one of these, does the tail wag the dog or does the dog wag the tail? Does this rally run out of steam at the 61.8 because that naturally is what happens? Or does it run out of steam because so many people are watching this 61.8 believing that that's where the market's going to reverse so that they sell here? Chicken egg, yeah, that's a tough one. But the simple fact that a lot of these levels worked prior to computerization, when really a lot of people didn't have access to price charts, I believe that it's really more a function of the way the fabric of our universe, the way price has to behave based on the laws of the universe. And really what you have to understand is that this price action that you see on the charts, this is actually nothing more than just, I like to use a fancy expression. I say it's the collective perceived value of an asset at any given point in time by us humans. So since we humans are part of the universe, then technically we got to follow the laws of the universe, right? We actually behave based on that fabric, the pattern, if you will. So the point here is that it shouldn't surprise us, and then given our conversation about volume impetus, does it make sense? Does this image make more sense now? And Andrew said, and Andre says, fibs might just be the reflection of human neural networks, though. Sure, it could be. And frankly speaking, I'm not here to debate the tail or the dog. All I'm here to acknowledge is, can I find edge? Is there something that works in the market on a relatively consistent basis that can help me find edge, right? Isn't that what we're all here for? We just want to find edge. Hey, shit, that works. Have you ever heard me use the expression, I want to do less of what doesn't work and more of what does work? Right? That's all I care about. I mean, I don't mean to be rude. And this is where I get into a lot of battles with sort of the crypto truists and stuff like that. Really, I just want to make money, right? That's all I care about. It's not very politically correct sometimes to say that. All right, so the point here is, given our conversation about the way the buyers seem to be revolting here and backing away, and then giving our higher time frame trade location, do you see how the two kind of go hand in hand? It makes sense why the buyers are backing away here, right? Anyone other than Jeremy? Okay. I mean, this is pretty powerful stuff, guys. As we said, we started watching that volume battle play out. OBV wise, I don't think you step in front of this thing here. But as we said earlier, Miss Goldman Sachs, I actually think we're heading into this kind of market. And what's interesting, guys, and I don't know whether this is politically correct or not, but I actually believe that this market is we actually have a leading indicator. We have everybody's like, uh-oh, what's he about to say? What's he about to say? In Dash, I really honestly believe, I think that Dash is actually a pretty good leading indicator right now. But I had the chart up here somewhere, but it doesn't look like it. I'll put that away. Oh, hello. Does everybody see the bear is getting interested? But, just to give you sort of a perspective on what I'm sort of thinking this market space is going to kind of look like, I think we're actually in store for, I don't know whether you use Dash BTC or whether you could use Dash US dollar. That'd actually be interesting to look at that. What does that look like? Yeah, interesting. Still making new highs in. But, for the altcoin space, I really think this is sort of the environment that we're facing right now. And I do believe this is where shut down the live stream whenever they have something to buy, sell. How often do they update the chart? Okay, I'm not quite sure where all those questions are going. Did I do something wrong? Can you guys all still see me? Hear me? Whatever. Okay. And I actually think that this is going to be like a range traders market. And you know, the public is all frothy right now, and of course we know the cycle. I think, if you know, it's fascinating. I went on Polo this morning, and I just went through all of these coins. Right, we picked up a little bit of this AMP. Great call, Jeremy. Fucking brilliant call. Look at that beautiful bottom. Oh, Jeremy, I could kiss you. Except for you're in Switzerland, bastard. But long and short of it here is I see a lot of these coins doing this. We've basically, can you guys see how this is like the dash chart, sort of like right here? Does that make sense? Anyone? And I think that this is the kind of environment that we're going to be in for the next couple months. And through this environment, things are probably going to calm down a little bit. That's sort of my hunch. And, you know, keep your eyes open for, you know, ICO opportunities and individual coins. If anything, now is when we really need to focus in on fundamental drivers. You know, we got, I don't know how many people we got in the lounge here, but it looks pretty full. And I don't know how many people are watching on YouTube. But seriously, guys, let's work together and let's like build like a list of what are the fundamental events coming up in crypto space that are going to make these coins pop. Does that make sense? Is that a request that maybe we could all sort of work on together in the lounge? If you can think of, you know, like I'll put together a Google Doc, right, and just make it open to everybody. And if you know of any fundamental drivers that are coming down the pike, we can make some serious fucking money here. Excuse my French. This is the type of environment, right? We're I think, you know, like remember we saw Goldman Sachs kind of thing. I think Bitcoin at the worst is in a pretty wild trading range, right? Where the bottom of the range is a couple grand, and we've talked about that at length before. And top of the range is maybe, you know, 2,500, 2,800, whatever, somewhere up in that area. It's going to bang back and forth. And if you want to trade these bangs back and forth, go for it. El Tangonator, they're there. If you want to do this, like I said, this is a range trader's paradise. Does that make sense, guys? Does this concept, you know, range traders, this is a range trader's dream. And I think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to put in an M and we're going to head back down. And if you want to be short, right, grab those shorts, long, short. Just enjoy yourself. 141 in lounge, 24 watching. Oh, that's not bad. Thanks, Benjamin. I don't know if people can watch in the lounge or not. But anyway, and I'm sure, you know, there'll be lots of people that will watch us in their emails and stuff when they get the email sent out later on. But seriously, guys, I think there's a lot of opportunity here. And so what I was actually doing this morning was I was just going through the sheet here. And what I like to do is just create a list. And God, when will Trex get off their butt and get added to Trading View? God, it would make our lives so much easier. Or if Shane, where are you? If you could get your little platform up and running. But what I like to do is I just like to get up in the morning and I just like to go through the charts. Right? And I'm looking for, you know, now the cool part about it is like a month ago, all these damn prices were up here and I couldn't even consider buying. Now I've got a whole crap load of Bitcoin and I can go shopping. What do you think about this BCY? Does it make sense that Brian might be interested in something there? You want to trade this, drill down to the 4 hours like we did on that AMP right to begin with, right? Okay, same thing. Wow, you want to trade that, drill down to the 4 hour. Look at the pretty little bottom. I mean, this is textbook. Are you guys seeing this? Like, we've been waiting for this. There's a ton of money to be made here. I mean, if anything, you know, that video that I played at the beginning of the class, you know, for you guys in the lounge here. Seriously, guys, this is it. I think this is our opportunity. We didn't get sucked into this nonsense buying up here. The public is all long up here. But can you see how much money there is to be made on that counter trend rally back up into these highs? And guess who's going to be selling up here? But a shitload of Bitcoin, right? Do you see how this sets up? And this is where traders just own this world. Does that make sense, guys? Like, man, this is, if anything, patience and discipline, this is where the traders get paid. Okay, kind of a funny rant I went on today, but seriously, guys, I really do think that, Katy Perry, right? Let's just step up and be a firework, right? Some of you guys, I know you're going to make a goddamn fortune here. I'll try to do my best to, hunt ideas and be a good role model for you and take my bets and stuff. In fact, Julian's even like, hey, you should be betting more. Why are you not betting more? Good with these damn little penny ante bets. And he's right, because as the account grows bigger, I got to increase the bet sizes, right? I got to, I don't know whether you guys remember, but when I started the portfolio, we were putting in like 0.01 BTC bids, right? Because that was appropriate risk based on starting with 1 Bitcoin, right? How much did we put in? 0.05, right? And all the Twitter people used to laugh at me and make fun of me. Now, seriously, I actually have to be seriously considering putting at least a full Bitcoin into these trades, which is a bit shocking. Yeah, I know. Sure, why not? Aaron, if it could give me a free trade and a free position going forward, why wouldn't I do that? Once you're in that free position, Aaron asked, would you sell half on a double on AMP? I think it should be priority number one to get that double, right? And there may be some effery through here. I love the location. I love the look of this trade. Beautiful trade. But there's no guarantee that this thing's going to rock it. So, risk management, less than 5% portfolio risk. If I went 5%, I'd actually have to put about 2 or 3 Bitcoin into this thing. I think I put like 0.2 Bitcoin, and Julian's like, come on. So, but the point here is, I'm a cheap ass, I'm chicken shit, all that kind of stuff. But the point is that if I can get myself into a free position, which is basically a tag of this level right up in here, actually, yeah, somewhere up in here. If I can establish that risk-free position, I do that every day of the week. Now, once you, and no, I don't. And everybody needs to understand everything. Like the whole purpose of this project, Roam asked Brian, do you take trades outside at TRI? The whole purpose of this program was to be a complete open slate for you guys. And I guess it makes sense, based on human nature. A lot of people get burned and a lot of people get taken advantage of in this world. That it's actually hard to believe that there are people like me in the world. I'm a total open book. And the whole purpose of this site, the whole purpose of, JoJo's experiment with me here was to help you people. I'm not here to con anybody. I understand that, are the shorts shown as well? Yeah, I mean, if I do, I don't understand, David. But anyway, let's get back to the, maybe we can talk about this later, but no, just please understand, I'm a complete open book. Everything that I do on this site, I either blog or Stuart has automated. So really, there is nothing to be concerned about in that regard. All right, so yeah, I would sell half on a double here and basically get those quote-unquote free coins. And don't worry about it, Roham. It's a completely understandable reaction. And if anything, people look at me and go, wow, that guy's weird. And that's all right. Totally all right by me. And really what I think you ought to do, and actually, what time is it? We got 10 minutes left here. I think it's not a bad idea. Let's just go through the list and everybody just sort of get a pencil and paper out. Is there, are there coins? Let's shortlist the number of coins. I'll just look at the Polo ones. Unfortunately, we can't look at tracks. But, just go through them. ARDR, man, that looks like an interesting location. Let's keep an eye out for divergence structure. BCN, yeah, same thing. You can actually see the little W. Right, there it is. In fact, these guys already got a trade-off. 53. This would be like an Ian trade. I bet you Ian was all over that. Big Crystals. I've always liked this one. I think I actually was a buyer here recently on that one. Bella. Now here's the problem, right? Oh, actually, this is a 4-hour chart. I think I want to be on the daily chart. We were playing Bella on the way up here, and she crapped out, right, and broke down. I wouldn't touch Bella right now. It's too dangerous. BLK. Wow, look at that little double bottom trying to come in here. So, you know, if you want to hunt tests of this lows, right, down in here, not bad. Really interesting little name there. BTCD, Bitcoin Dark. Nah, nothing really to write home about. We already looked at Bitcoin, BTM. Ooh, look at that one. Ooh, look at that little W that's trying to come in there. I'd shortlist him. Maybe drill down a 4-hour. Take a look for some cute little WWs like that amp we saw. Go hunting with a bowl and spoon. Look at that. You can see a nice juicy little gap right up top there too. BTS. Don't like the fact that it made a new low here. Probably give this a bit more time. Burst. Ooh, look at that. Right against these key lows here. Oh, look at that. Interesting. Look at that doji right there. Interesting. Very interesting. Burst is one we could put on a short list. Clemmy. Clemmy's definitely in trade location territory. I don't really like how wide the range is, though. Probably need to let him settle down a bit. Dash. Of course, we talked about Dash. I think he's a nice leading indicator, and this is basically what we have to express in a broader trend. Decred was really disappointed this one didn't perform better. Took a little bit of profit, but you can see structurally just not ready to go yet. Maybe if we start getting some WE action, we can start hunting new bots, but nothing to do there now. Ooh, hello, Digi. This thing's up and down like a horse drawers. Can you guys see the structural bottom that's trying to form down here? Problem, I think they basically established a trading range, boobity boo. So let's maybe let this develop, see if you see any sort of W's sort of form through here. Definitely interesting trade location. They washed all these guys out. Probably this is the key pivot right there. Doge, inside bar reversal. Nice tail eat. Probably not the best trade location. It's understandable why the market's rallying. Left a little bit of a gap. Ooh, that might even be, it's not the best example, but it's almost a doji gap. EMC2. This one I didn't like. Yeah, I think you're best to leave that one alone. Einsteinium. It might face rip higher. Totally possible, but too risky for me. ETC. Not overly impressed with the way that chart looks. I think you just got to let it calm down. Didn't like the fact that it broke these lows. ETH. Interesting on this one, right? Of course, everybody would rah-rah ETH. I think we probably should take a moment to talk about this. You guys remember in recent videos here, I've talked about this. This is the worst fear. This is the worst scenario a broker or any kind of advisor can be put in. You know, higher time frames. We're actually coming down into an interesting buying zone. And right, this is why we call these reload longs. And, you know, somebody says, well, at this point here, Brian, should I sell and look to buy it back lower? And, you know, maybe, all right, yeah, we sold it. Yep, looks like that was a smart idea. Now, if I heard some guy saying it's going down, oh, damn. Oh, there it goes. Oh, Jesus, now it's right back to where I sold it. Now what do I do? And, of course, if I tell the guy to sell, right, and he's sitting here, he's going, well, yeah, okay, maybe you're right, but why didn't you get me to buy back in? So now it's incumbent on me to get him in right at the bottom. And what ends up happening is this ends up just becoming a total zero-sum game. And so I don't know whether the gentleman who asked me whether he should get out of his ETH here is even in the community. He might have just given up on me and said, oh, I don't need a guy who's going to just, be a pansy ass. But this is exactly what I was worried about. It was almost weird. It's almost like I had a premonition. I saw this was going to happen. In a weird sort of way, I do think that this marked a capitulation. And of course, if we talk about bulls and bears and all that kind of stuff, somebody sure came awake here. And also, too, I thought this was interesting. Does everybody see how there's a W in Willie here, and there's a W in OBV here? So we have a site member. He pops in and out. He's really working hard on a project right now, but he likes to call this his Davo. I don't know whether Dav has seen that recently or not, but wow, what a momentum signal through that. So I got a funny feeling that that probably was the lows for ETH for the time being. And as I had sort of that, did I get rid of it? Yeah, the head and shoulders. You know, kind of like Bitcoin, you know, are we at the start of a new bull market here? You know, this is actually a really shitty trade location right now. I think that this rally probably exhausts itself here over the next maybe, 24 hours, 12 hours, whatever. And the irony of it all is it's probably going to exhaust itself right as we get ready to head into the weekend, and they're going to mess with the crypto kids again, right? So, if anything, I don't mind the idea. Just let this peter itself out. And then when we come down on this right shoulder, really watch closely if you are an ETH bull. Really watch closely the behavior, maybe off of like the hourly chart or something, on this, anticipated test. Who knows if it's going to happen or not? But if it does, really watch the test. Especially see that candle, that tail right there. Keep a real close eye on that one. And probably if we look over in the euro, probably same sort of thing. Well, actually, that's a pretty hard low there. I said, head and shoulders type behavior. Actually, maybe that's that tail right there. Below value, you can see the little notch. Remember we talked about Hogue. Maybe they have to do an FU. I don't know. That's a tough one. But considering the violence of the turn here, I got a funny feeling, considering this is a buying zone, I got a funny feeling that this this is some sort of pivot here on ETH. That's just my hunch. Rohan says divergence on hourly MACD. So probably, and that's sort of showing that this is getting exhausted. Is that what you're talking about, Rohan? Yeah. I mean, the point here is, can you see how this has gone just basically straight up here? And actually, we talked about this a while ago. Usually you can count these moves in 4, 8s, and 12s. So like if we go here, the move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that move was 8, right? And we go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was the peak, but 6, 7, 8, right? Sort of a pivot there. If we go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty close. So we count here, 1, 2, 3, 4. What's interesting is that 4, do you see how 5 was a massive push higher here? So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're getting, this is getting pretty old, right, if you're doing your count. We've been going one way for an awfully long time. And if we drill down to the 1 hour, okay, so what I see here is if the MACD actually goes through these levels, I think that divergence confirms. You can see that it really flirted with that in here, right? But it's interesting, right on that pivot that was right in here, the bulls really stepped up and just were like, nope, we want to buy, we want to buy, we want to buy. And it'd be interesting if that, oh, gee whiz, what a coincidence, that's kill zone. So if anything, what that tells me is maybe these were stop runs, right? They were hunting liquidity pools all in these highs here. Let's see if we can push these stops. Boom, we hit them, great. See if we can push these stops. Boom, we hit them, great. See if we can push these stops. Boom, we hit them, great. And now we're actually, do you see, Rohan, we're actually now just getting back to the original double top fail level there. There's the actual structural top right there. Isn't that interesting? So all these people, and this is why we like to call them the noob stops, right? All these people are just slowly getting bitch slapped out of the market here. They're actually taking it up, and we could actually argue based off of this pattern that this is the institutional fingerprint right up there. Oh, come on, cheeky bug. Right up there. So I wouldn't be surprised if ETH actually, oh yeah, and you see the double top right in here? All right, there's the fingerprint as well there. They tried to put one in here. This is a major, major battle zone on ETH, right up in there. But I got a funny feeling that they're not even going to let it get above this level here. So they slammed it into that level. Notice too, interesting. Notice how value high is just a bit higher. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually a little bit of a trap, that they're going to play with this level a little bit. Kind of like what we said with Bitcoin. You know, I think that this top is going to be a rolling top. What is it today? Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. You know, maybe this takes 2 or 3 days to slowly play out. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. Willie's nice and stupid, so the last thing in the world you could possibly do is be what? Who should tell me? If you see Willie like this, what's the last thing in the world you should, well, not necessarily long. You might have been long off the bottom. But don't go in what right now? This is a horrible place to be a buyer, right? Yeah. And really, that kind of makes sense, I think. If anything, you know, let this sort of clean itself up. If this is a bull, it'll consolidate a bit, set up some structure, clean all this stuff up, and then, you know, get ready for the next leg. You know, our head and shoulders thesis basically said that we're sort of thinking like shoulder, neckline, head. You know, maybe we have to, you know, and the more symmetrical is, the better, right? I could see us top out here, right, and roll back down. There's a nice juicy tail to eat. There's some more juicy tails to eat. There's that key low. That's the level that should be tested right there, right in there. And also, too, gee whiz, what a coincidence. What do we call this? Right there. Boom. A muoc, right? So if we do fail at the POC, right, and that would be sort of a failure of this level here, I think we find support at value low. All right, so if you're trading this, right, have some fun through this range. Well, it's not a big. Does that make sense, guys? What do you think? Does a lower shoulder matter? Does a lower shoulder matter? You mean if it actually did something like that? This head and shoulder pattern only confirms if all of this stuff plays out and then we go through here. All right, that's the only point that the head and shoulders pattern even means anything. This is right now, it's just sort of like, what am I thinking this price action is going to kind of look like? Does that make sense? No, there is no trade setup here. If anything, if I was hunting a trade setup, I would probably be going something like this. All right. Remember, think El Tangonator. Where is our 50% rule? There's a realistic price objective. Can I get some sort of structure up here so that if I take the trade, I'm going to enter off of some sort of failure, candle failure, whatever. Got some highs to work with, and most importantly, the risk taken on the trade is half the potential reward. You see that? This is the key to making money at this game over the long term. You got to make sure. You just simply have to wait for this condition to develop. If it doesn't develop, you just don't trade. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, it's past the top of the hour. What do you think, guys? Did we have a fun session today? Do you feel inspired? Do you guys feel like, oh, wow, actually I can kind of see the market a little clearer now? I sure hope so. That was the whole purpose of this exercise. All right, I think we'll probably leave it at that for today. Giving you some interesting links. If there's anything, you know, people watching later on, if there's any of the links or anything that we mentioned, most of them I think we put in the lounge. But if there's something that we missed, just PM me, or Jeremy, or I don't know, is James around today? Doesn't appear to be. Benjamin, he's also really, really helpful. Great guys. I don't know whether you can PM them. That might be a bit much, but if you see them in the lounge, they're really, really helpful people. And a lot of it, like they're my veterans, obviously. I have a dear place in my heart. But all of you guys are such great people. I love waking up in the morning and seeing you guys. Okay, why don't we leave it at that? Have yourselves a great day, everybody. You inspire me. Hopefully, my good behavior and my good leadership inspires you. Let's go out there and kick some butt, have some fun, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. So the only thing left to say is bye for now.